but here's McDonald around the corner. It's all come together for the D.
Scouting is the young. Kicks for goal. And he's pumped. Get around him. Bargo gets his first.
Welcome to Inside Melbourne. What a podcast this is. After a win, Katie Price. It was a great win too, 36 points at Etihad Stadium over the Bombers.
Yeah, absolutely awesome to be back on the winners list. I guess the challenge now is to back it up against the Saints, hopefully.
The podcast presented by our great mates at Zurich, and today we welcome into the house Bernie Vince. Bern, g'day there.
Guys. How are we?
Very good. How about yourself?
Not too bad. I feel pretty special being asked in here, but I did say I'm not doing this unless we win, so the questions are easier. So this is my week.
You feel special, but unfortunately not the first guest we've had in here, Bernie, but anyway.
They've asked me every week.
Yeah, have they?
I just keep knocking them back.
That's what we tell you anyway. Hey, Bern, I mentioned Etihad Stadium. It's our fortress these days, is it not?
I know. We really battled to win there. We had some really poor results at Etihad for a long time, and now we can't seem to lose there. So, I mean, you got to get good at playing everywhere, but under the roof, inside, there's no elements. So we tend to play pretty well there now. So, obviously a good game on the weekend, and I think we've only lost one out of the last maybe 5 or 6, and that was against Geelong when we lost Big Maxi just before half time and just lost. So, some good results over the past few years there.
And yeah, good win, great signs too from some of, especially in the forward line, I reckon, all those inexperienced blokes really stepping up, and Charlie Spargo and the likes.
Yeah, it was pretty exciting debut, wasn't it, to kick two. I think I had 2 touches on my debut, so that was, he certainly outdid me. He kicked really important goals too, right when the game was in the balance, and his defensive stuff's really good too, his tackling and chasing, and helps us guys in the back line because he's putting pressure on those inside 50s. So he was great. Mitch Hannon came in from the VFL, and he was outstanding. He's tackled pressure, and he kicked a few goals as well. And Bailey Fritsch, I could probably keep going with the whole forward line, but certainly some great results up there.
Who did you debut against?
I was against Collingwood. It was on a Monday night actually at Etihad.
And you don't reckon you went too well?
No, I didn't do well. I actually... Nathan Buckley was on me for a bit, so that's my claim to fame, that he came straight to me when I came on. But I think he came to me because he's like, who's this under 15 bloke out here? I might stand him. He had about 40, but
skinny little runt.
Yeah.
Hey, Katie mentioned the forward line. Tommy McDonald, I thought, was a huge in. Just sort of straightened us up a bit as well. What do you think of his impact?
Definitely, that's probably one I missed of coming in. You could name the whole forward line, but he was, for a guy that's been out for a long time and missed a lot of training, I guess it's a real credit to our rehab guys to be able to get him in good condition as well, just to come straight in. No VFL footy, so he certainly did. He gave us another option up forward with sort of been one out with Hogues up there, and Weeds has come back in the last couple of weeks, but to have another big body up there, and with Tommy, I guess he can roll through. He can play a number of roles. So he played back, ruck for a bit. He started on the wing actually, and then obviously played forward and kicked a couple. So he can sort of roll anywhere, which is it's real positive for the team.
And Maxi Gawn, obviously, just every week we talk about him, but just ran riot. I mean, he's just taken his game to another level, hasn't he?
Hasn't he? He's pretty good to watch, isn't he? We get first look at it being out there with him, but he's pretty special to be able to do what he can do around the ground for such a big unit. But he's given us real first look. I guess something that we've been working on over the first 4 or 5 weeks was that connection with our midfield, because he was winning a lot of hit-outs and we were getting first look at it, but we probably weren't getting as good a connection as what we probably thought we could. So done a lot of work over the last couple of weeks, especially on that. And I thought on the weekend we really got... I can't remember the exact number of centre clearances, but I think it was something like
lot.
20 to 4 or something. So really connected well to there, and it makes it so much easier for playing down back like I was, when it's in your forward half and you can set up and lock it in there. So we've got good connection this week from Big Max.
Plenty of tired bodies out there at Etihad Stadium, both sides, of course, coming off very short breaks. Look, if there's one knock on the performance personally, I would say the fact that once we jumped to a 50-point lead, we couldn't just keep, putting the foot on the throat. Is that an issue at all, or is it just something that maybe I'm sitting
just
back trying to get it? I'm getting a bit. Well, I just think that sometimes in those situations, we talk about We talk about switching off slightly, but I felt as though that did happen maybe late in that last quarter.
Yeah, it's certainly been an issue over the past definitely 3 weeks, because Hawthorn we really shut down. That was pretty early. That was after quarter time. But Richmond, we faded out in the last quarter, and Essendon, they're probably only the last 5 or 6 minutes, but they were able to kick 2 or 3 goals in that last bit. And we want to be a team that plays for 4 quarters, because in a final or in a big game, it might come down to those last few minutes to break a team. And we even spoke about that with Essendon, and we thought it might come down to the last minute or two. So you can't, luckily we're in a position that it didn't actually hurt us on the scoreboard, but it was certainly mentioned by Goody after the game that we can't keep doing that. So we're going to have to find a way to really close games out, because against big team, not saying Essendon's not a great team, but against the big teams in the especially in a final or something, games are really close, and they tend to be low scoring. So you can't be giving up those sort of scores, and that was certainly an issue that was addressed by Goody, and we'll go through again today of what exactly happened or what broke down.
And I mentioned it at the start, but obviously you talk about the inconsistencies within games, but also week to week, and that is obviously the challenge now, and that's obviously what the fans want to see, is to back up that performance.
Yeah, it is. I find it quite funny when commentators say, "Oh no, they've got a couple of winnable games coming up," and any Melbourne supporter goes, "Hey, wait, we'll just wait. It was just 1 week at a time with us." But yeah, that's something we need to get good at, because that's what the good teams are good at, and you don't play finals unless you're consistent throughout the whole year. So, I guess it's a bit of a boring cliche, so 1 week at a time, but with us, it's literally that, and it's not so much just on the weekend; it's your whole week. So we spoke about that, I think, after the Hawthorn game, coming off a couple of good games and into the Hawthorn game, we reviewed our week rather than just the weekend, what you guys see, a whole week, and whether that was similar to the week before and the week before that, and just getting consistency in your week and what that looks like, your preparation. It's amazing how that transfers into a game. So it was just a bit of a review of what we'd all been doing, and just highlighted a few areas we need to get better at.
Bern, Michael Christian is the match review officer these days.
Shout out to him if he's listening.
I think he does a great job. What do you reckon? I'm not going to ask you intimately about the match review officer, but more so about your recent history. You chalked up another one at the weekend.
Yeah, I know. It's a tough job for him, I must admit, but he does say I waste a lot of his time when I see him, and I try and avoid him. He comes out and speaks to us each year, and I'm a couple of examples always, and he goes, "What do you think about this one, Bert?" I'm like, "Nah, he should get off of that one." He goes, "No, in fact, that's 2 weeks, and you should remember that." But I have been cited. I think it was me and Shane Mumford, he said, were the most out of the last 3 or 4 years or since he's been going, and he's retired now, and I've already had 2 again this year. So
there's some talk that you might be up there with Rod Balls Grinter at the footy club. Like you may even have overtaken him.
What a great man he is, though. If I can be spoken about with him, I'd be very happy.
Can I ask one more?
Not so much for that reason, but
we're going to take some questions from the outer very, very shortly. But a great mate of ours at Melbourne, Johnny Clark, he submitted one. He says, "Who would you get reported for belting if you played against Melbourne this year?"
That's a good question. Probably, who I always used to have a run-in with was Jordan Lewis.
Oh, yeah.
When he played for Hawthorn, obviously.
I don't think you're alone.
I'd actually like to see that battle.
Adelaide, Hawthorn, and then when I come to Melbourne, it didn't stop. He was just at Hawthorn still, obviously. And then when he came here, I thought, this is going to be sort of interesting and awkward when I meet this bloke, because he probably thinks I'm a... What can I say? But he... we just hit it off straight away. We're really good mates, and just really competitive too, I guess. And we've got a few videos, I think, of us two having a few run-ins, and he goes a bit.
It must be pretty tricky though, because you play your best footy on the edge.
Yeah, I think most people do, and everyone's ultra competitive and don't want to give an inch. So out there, I get told I've got a bit of white line fever, I think, but I don't plan to do anything like that. It's just the way it is, and I unfortunately get in some trouble sometimes, but haven't missed a game this year, so that's all right.
Very good.
Having a good run. I've been let off once and fined once, so I'm going all right.
We play St Kilda this weekend. Katie has already alluded to it. Another match at Etihad Stadium, and look, they're not travelling too well at the moment, but you certainly underestimate teams like them at your peril.
Yeah, you certainly do, especially at Etihad. They play a real fast brand, and under the roof, as I said before, it's really clean play. So they're a really dangerous team, and a team that, you know, we have to prepare for their best. They should have probably beaten GWS 2 weeks ago, you know, and we're with Hawthorn for most of that game in Tassie. So, we'll certainly prepare for their best. And over the last few weeks, they've been back to, you know, getting back to that best, even though they haven't had the wins on the board. We'll certainly be preparing for their best, and they're a really dangerous team. So certainly can't take anyone lightly.
And especially, I mean, we say it every week, but the midfield battle key, clearly, and they've got some pretty talented blokes running through there. Yeah,
they have. I mean, I'm not sure who will match up on or keep quiet, but it's every game sort of one in the midfield, isn't it? If hopefully, again, Max can get his hand on the ball and give us first connection, that'll take a lot of their mids out. But, you know, Jack Stephen is one that springs to mind. He's been really dangerous against us and having a really good year. So, I mean, it's hopefully we can get that connection going again, and it's all about playing it in our half. It makes it so much easier for us backs, and we can set up behind the ball. So, it'll be interesting. I'm sure they'll have their plans against Max, though, because most teams do. They'll be into him and trying to put him off his game, and that's something that Max has got very good at over the past couple of years, being a target for opposition teams. So I'm sure he'll handle it fine. And he's had a few good hit-outs against St Kilda, so it'll be a big challenge for him.
Inside Melbourne, presented by Zurich. Bernie Vince, our special guest. Startling admission, I thought, after his second surgery from Christian Petrarca, who said that he was every chance to get that finger amputated had he risked it again. Do you reckon he's putting a bit of mayo on that? Or is he...
It's mayo. That's huge mayo. Would have been good if he lost his tongue, because he does not shut up. But, he's certainly just putting a bit of mayo on that, so then the TV stations speak about him, because he loves all that. He's always on the AFL app and checking the stats and seeing where he is.
A bit more wobble time on
there's wobble. He might battle to get in here. He might battle to get in here. There are double doors, though. They might have to open both when he comes in. But, he's a great fella to have around the footy club. He's a really exciting young guy, and you need young guys that are up and about like that. But sometimes we do have to tell him just to be quiet every now and then.
Just steal some of the headlines off 1B Vince.
Is that him trying to get in?
I think it is.
I have to open the other door.
Does he play this week, do you reckon?
I'm actually not sure. I haven't really spoken to him since his surgery. He's been staying at home. He's on that bloody game thing, that Fortnite or whatever it is. I'm sick. I haven't had a PlayStation ever. And I don't know, these guys, they talk about this Fortnite and they get at the mic. They're a bit like this. They mic up and they talk to each other. And I just think, get out and play golf or something. Do something.
We'll get onto your golf shortly. But, I mean, Hogues and Petrarca both got stuck into us a few weeks back because we didn't play.
Oh, I mean, please. Yeah, no, that's going way too far. Don't worry, we're working on them. We're trying to get them outside, and, you know, smell the fresh air and green grass, and, you know, but they tend to like to lock themselves in a dark room and just shoot each other or something. I don't know what it is.
So, who knows?
No idea.
How is the golf going?
It's going all right. Came in pretty quick. Been playing. I've just ticked over 2 years. I've been a member for 2 years now. So.
Where are you a member?
Riversdale.
Beautiful.
So, certainly love a real outlet from footy, and you could be anywhere in the world when you're out in a golf course. That's what I love about it. And there's pressure on when you're playing, but there's you sort of forget about everything in life.
So Oscar McDonald, probably
star.
The best.
Yeah, he's
the best of the club.
We basically play weekly, him and Hibbo, and we throw a fourth in there with Jordan Lewis is sort of on rotation. Depending on how
scratchy or serious?
He's very up and down, Louis, but that's right. He doesn't play. He's got the three boys now, so he's got an excuse why he can't work on his game. But he's quite good. He's off about 15, I think. So it's good banter out there anyway. That's one thing. There's certainly not short of that.
And I think this is someone you're related to, but James Moss. How low can you get your handicap?
I'm sitting about 9 at the moment, so I'd like to get that down. But if you told me 2 years ago when I was off 23 that I'd be under 10 one day, I'd be like, I'd take that. But Oscar's off. I think Oscar's off 1.5 or something. It's ridiculous. But me and Hibbo are about the same. So we enjoy it.
Bernie, great start. Great to have you on the podcast, Inside Melbourne, this week. We've got an absolute myriad of questions here, Katie, for the great man.
Crackers too.
We will get to them from the outer after this short break. Thanks to our co-major partner and podcast sponsor, Zurich. For over 100 years, they've been ensuring the people and things you truly love. And just like you, they truly love footy and truly love Melbourne. Welcome back, Bernie Vince, our special guest on Inside Melbourne this week. Today, we're introducing a new question to our podcast each week, thanks to our great friends at Zurich. We're keen to know, what are the things we truly love? For me, I truly love the mighty MCG, the Percy Beams bar more so. Bernie, how about you? What do you truly love?
Well, I like all bars as well, but what do I like? I just love life, mate. I reckon I'm very fortunate. Can I get deep here? Or?
Go
on.
Bit of zen time, yeah?
No, I don't know. I've just been pretty fortunate over my life. So lucky to have very good parents, very good family, good upbringing, and just been, very fortunate, I think, in life. But there's obviously things in life you like individually as well. So love my golf, love my wife.
Yeah, big tick there for
about
Abby. Tell us about the Bernie Vince story growing up. Where did you grow up exactly, and what were your sort of influences? Why did you choose footy, I guess?
Yeah, well, I grew up in just outside a town called Stansbury on York Peninsula, country South Australia, and my parents are still there on a farm. Got 4 sisters. Grew up, playing.
Oh, is that tough having 4 sisters?
People always ask me that, but I don't really know any different.
Yeah,
so I don't know if it was 4 brothers, probably be a lot more fights. I'd have a lot more scars, but I've probably made up for that. Yeah. I don't know. I loved it because whenever there was any boys things to do, I was the one going. So there was no fights to go somewhere or something with Dad. So, but yeah, grew up there, played cricket and footy. That was sort of the culture back there. You always play footy and cricket, depending on what season. And grew up. I never really had any aspirations of playing. Never thought it was a reality, to be honest, to play AFL. I left school and played country footy for a couple of years. I actually played country footy the year I got drafted. So I was sort of very lucky. Must have played well in front of someone. I ended up playing a few league games for Woodville West Torrens, 3 or 4, I think, towards the end of one year. But I played country footy most of that year back home, and came back down and played a few league games and ended up getting drafted. And I was like, I don't know how that happened. And then I played round 1 my first year, which was the next year. So I went, I played 4 different levels over about probably 15 games, I reckon. So country footy, reserves, league, and then round 1 of AFL. And I was playing with guys like Andrew McLeod, Mark Rashudo, Simon Goodwin, Tyson Edwards and Ben Rutten. These guys I was thinking, I shouldn't even really be in this change room. I feel like I need a ticket to get in here. But it was I guess that was reality, and it took me a while to settle down. I was probably still in my head a country footballer for a few years, but learned a way to train, and I'm still here, so I must have done something right since then.
You mentioned the cricket, though. I mean, you were a pretty handy cricketer. Did it come down to a choice? Were you that good?
I loved cricket. I was playing A-grade district in Adelaide. I was playing the day I got drafted, actually, because I didn't even really watch the draft because I didn't think I was going to get drafted. So, I loved it. And I played a lot of cricket at home. How far I would have gone, that was the level I was probably going to get to, just district cricket. Well, that's what I tell myself now anyway, but you never know, I guess. But I didn't really make a choice. Footy, I got drafted, so it was almost made for me. So I wasn't going to turn down being on an AFL list. So I just thought, now I'll play footy. So that was an interesting, I guess. 'Cause most people come through state under 16, state under 18s, and I was never good enough to make any of those teams. So it's an interesting pathway, I guess. A bit different one. Not many people do it now.
Brings us to our first question from the outer burn. It's from Adam Masters.
It's dangerous.
Is the story about dancing on the pub pool table by yourself after winning a 3rd grade cricket flag true?
I wasn't by myself. I had 10 other teammates.
Sure.
But, it wasn't 3rd grade, but...
just cleaning it up as we go here?
Yeah, I was just doing the finer points, mate. I was. I was singing, I think we were singing the club song. I think I was only in a cricket helmet, though, so... which was quite funny, but it was funny at the time. But then, I got in a bit of trouble for that.
Yeah,
that following week. So someone obviously saw me.
That was an interesting week, wasn't it?
It was an interesting week for me because I was suspended up until about Wednesday, I think. Yeah. And then, this was on a Sunday after the grand final that I was doing that or singing the song.
Yeah.
And I was the club found out about it. We had a NAB Cup grand final on the Friday night, and then I think Wednesday they said I'm back in. I'm allowed to play. I think because it's a long story, but I was back in. So a lot of people complained that I shouldn't be suspended for it, and the club listened and put me back in and
People power.
play. Yeah, I know they got by me. The Adelaide supporters, they saved me that game. I ended up playing and winning the Michael Tuck medal. So I was like, well, I should do this every week. But yeah, they didn't see the funny side of that, the footy club or the leadership group at the time.
Oh, I can only imagine like premiership celebrations if it got to that with the Ds, if that's what the cricket celebrations were from third grade, I reckon.
Oh, imagine.
Yeah.
I can only imagine what that would be like, but long way to go before we get there. But yeah, it could be get right out of hand.
Oh, I spoke to you at the Best and Fairest just last year. We were talking about all things Melbourne Footy Club, and you spoke about the Adelaide fans. Double question: do you reckon the Adelaide fans still have a soft spot for you, Byrne? Second of all, I mean, is Melbourne the place you'll end up settling, and how much do you love this footy club?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think they loved me the first time I went back to play against them for about the first 2.5 minutes. And then,
were you tagging?
Yeah, I ran with Danger I think, back then. But that was an interesting day, that one, because I'd come off couple of pretty poor games, so I was like wanted to bounce back a bit, and Goody sort of, I think Rosie was at the time, fired me up a bit and went out and knocked him over a few times, which was quite funny. And I had a few things that happened to me. Like I kicked the wrong way, kicked straight to Tex, and he swung around, kicked the inside 50 to him, which was, that was a bit bizarre as well, because I just forgot what way we were going. I didn't think I was playing for Adelaide, but I've kicked the wrong way about 4 or 5 times in my career. But it was interesting. They cheered me the first time I got it, and then they realised what I was doing, and then they just booed me for the rest of the day. So I quite enjoyed it. That just meant they still remember me at least. And going back now, it's pretty good. I've behaved myself a bit going back now. So I always have a soft spot for them. But to answer your second question, I really feel like I'm part of the Melbourne Footy Club. Obviously, I'm a player here, but when I finish, I'll look back and feel like I've had a real part in getting the team back to being, respected as a footy club. So, I came to the footy club. They were coming off 2 wins, I think, the year before, and really down. And they had the coaching structure, even the footy club admin structure was changed, and a lot of new personnel and a lot of change at the footy club. So, and obviously Rosie coming in was a big change. So, I feel like haven't come to a footy club that was, already established at the top of the table. They were starting at the bottom, and felt like I've had played my role in getting him. Not that we haven't really done anything, to be honest, but at least we're respected and in the footy world now. So if I could, have played a small part in that, I'll hang my hat on that. But yeah, Melbourne's probably the city for me now. I'm involved in a real estate company now, Pride Real Estate. So if you're buying or selling out there, just give me a call. Pride Real Estate, did you ask again?
Yeah, I did.
So I've set myself up now over the last 3 or 4 years over here in that, and I could step straight into that if footy finish. I'm 33 in October, so who knows? This could be my last year, or at max I've probably got 1 more year. So I've really set myself up to stay here and step straight into that. So.
And how much, I suppose, do you owe to Goody personally for what he's done for you over your career, now as coach, but obviously as teammate back in Adelaide and taking you under his wing? Yeah,
he's played a huge role in not only just my footy life, but my life. He's as I said before, I sort of touched on it a little bit before. I was coming out of that country footy sort of mentality, and I was thrown into an AFL system when I'd never done a pre-season until I got to Adelaide. So, a pre-season for me was a few beers and I think we put the footy boots on, on a Thursday night, but it was more about who's going to get there and get pissed the quickest, and that was our pre-season, about 4 weeks before we started maybe. So it was a big wake-up call to me, and I sort of had that mentality for a little bit and probably dragged on for the first couple I think I was 20 when I got drafted. Probably took me to 22 when Goody sat me down and said, look, mate, we believe in you, and we've seen the way you could possibly play. But, you know, we see a lot of people come through like you and get spat straight out. So it's basically decision time for you. If you want to make it at the level, you're going to have to put some hard work in. It doesn't just happen. So, yeah, he took me under his wing. At the time, I just agreed with everything he said because I was scared because Mark Rashudo was in the room too, and I thought I'll sit down the other end just so he can't reach me in case I say something wrong, because Rui was pretty aggressive sort of bloke. But they just wanted the best out of me. So I can't thank him enough, because I might not be in the system if it wasn't for them sitting me down. And I trained with Goody that next year, and that was tough. He's a real hard trainer, Goody, and that's why his expectations here of training and coming back in good shape for day one of pre-season. He's so, he's enormous on that. So he's shaped my whole life, and I can't thank him enough.
Very enterprising you are, Bern. You mentioned Pride Real Estate before. You've got the Hackney as well. I want to take you back to real estate very quickly. Do you think you're embarking on a career post-footy as a real estate agent? Can we trust real estate agents?
Mate, you can trust us.
Oh,
no, they got a bad rep out there, don't they?
And journos as well.
Yeah, I was about to say, we're not much better.
Maybe we could just, pump each other up here a little bit and just let everyone know what it's like. But the biggest thing
are you a good seller? Like, do you?
Well, I think I am. Yeah, I feel like I am, but. I've got a good team around me as well, so I can't do
all about the team.
Full time. Yeah, bring it back to team.
Exactly.
Mate. That's the thing. That's
team
what you should do with journalism. But yeah, I've got a real good team around me, and I can't be there full time, obviously with footy. So I'm only there 2 or 3 days a week, but I feel like I play my role in there, mate.
I like it.
That's a beautiful
That's
footy
a good cliche
there.
Nice.
But yeah, I run a weekly meeting and keep everyone accountable. And in terms of the full selling procedure, I can't commit to that full time as yet. But as I said, when I finish, I can step straight into it. So I've got to rely on my team members a bit.
I reckon we roll through some of these questions from the outer.
I'm a bit worried about what some of these might entail. But
I'm going to ease you into this with, I don't know, backyard. I'm not sure how you say it. But anyway, when you turn 21, you good-looking rooster.
What's changed?
Exactly.
That's the point.
Is that the question?
Yeah, that's the question.
When do you turn 21?
Oh, when do I turn 21?
He's saying that you are beautiful and youthful, I think.
And there was another one from Paulette de Mignon. My French accent's not very good. How do you retain your beautiful, youthful looks? Bern, you get pumped up here from the D's fans.
This making me feel good about myself.
I know. We just, as I said,
you wouldn't have many of these questions before, Clint?
No, I'll get plenty.
Well, mate, I'm going to give my mate a little plug here. Black leopard skin.
Another one. What's it?
Oh, mate, I tell you, I never really used anything.
Black leopard skincare.
Yeah, mate, right? He gives me a little.
So who's is this one of your
Lockie
mates?
Collins. I play golf with him a little bit. Yeah, Lockie and Murdoch Collins. Got a little place on Chapel Street there, and mate, that's all I've ever used. So if that's what it is, maybe I've just born lucky. Thank my parents again. I thanked them before.
Mum.
Lucky upbringing.
Serena.
Mum, Dad.
Serena.
Dad looks like he's about 35 and he's 60. So
see, Clint, this is the good cop, bad cop thing.
I know. Tommy wants to know, whose handle is Pickles, who was your sporting idol growing up?
That's a good question. I was really into my cricket, so I love watching Ricky Ponting play. I just thought he's... obviously, the way he batted was unbelievable, but the way he led the team and really got on the front foot and attacked. I mean, they had a really good team at the time, but he was one I really loved. And, everyone loves Warney. I loved Warney at the time. But
take us back.
I loved him when he was fat and,
shaking stumps above his head.
Drinking pots on the balconies and stuff. But now he's lost all his weight. He's sort of got the white teeth and the tanned, and he's he's lost me a little bit, but...
Got the big choppers.
I loved him back in the day when he'd really I don't know what it is about people mucking up. You sort of like them a bit more. They seem real.
Was it a dagger to the heart in light of recent controversies involving the Australian cricket team? You are a cricket purist, a cricket fan.
It was a big shock, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, Mum and Dad were over actually that weekend when that happened, and he said, "Have you seen the news, the cricket news?" And I said, "No." And then I checked it, and I was on every channel. It was massive blow up, wasn't it? But yeah, it still sort of shocks me now and the fallout from it, but I think there's probably more to come. I don't know what they're going to do. Those boys just go away and play local cricket, do they? Or
yeah, who knows?
Yeah.
But They could be. You never know. Some of them may not play again. So it's pretty
I
scary.
don't think Davey Warner will play
No.
again.
Yeah, and the amount of money they would have lost, like in terms of Cricket Australia contracts and IPL contracts, and it's. I don't think any of them knew the severity of what they were actually doing, which is. I'm sure if they knew the blow up or what would happen, they'd. But I mean, other teams have done it. Like
Well, that's right.
He's been found guilty twice, and what did he get? I think he got
a one match and a fairly substantial fine.
a fine. So and like no one really even heard about that. You know, I knew because I'm a cricket fan, but to be done twice for it and that's all that happened. We deliberately cheated. So. It's the worst thing in sport, isn't it? But that's why the severity of the sanctions was so big. But
All right, let's bring it back to footy. Jake Ali says, who would you rather tag, Danger or Dusty?
Jeez, that's tough. Right now, probably Danger, possibly, but they're probably two of the best players, over the last how long?
Who's the toughest you've had to run with?
Probably Nat Fyfe, I reckon. I did it a few years ago. Rugy had me not so much tagging, but sort of matching up or running alongside the opposition's best players. Most of the opposition players we had a pretty small midfield. We had like Jack Viney and Nathan Jones and some shorter guys. So, the Pendleburys and the Fyfes, Dangerfields, they're all 6'3". Like they're taller. So I was one of our taller mids, and he'd just be like, well, that's how it started. He said, we're going to get you to sort of stand next to him and match up on him at stoppages. Then next thing I was seeing is this dirty tagger. I still am, basically. But, he was probably the toughest. He can do it. A lot of those guys can do everything, go forward, kick goals, mark or whatever, but he's just his strength. Like he's got those big quads and strong over the ball, can take a hanger, sit on your head. His man, I'm not a huge fan of the man bun, but he's got that as well.
Ben, I can see you rocking a man bun.
Yeah, my hair's not getting any thicker.
Yes, times two. Who prides themselves on their fashion and around these hallways?
Pride, that's a good little plug there. I like that, mate. That's
Just
good.
Bringing it back to the team first philosophy.
I like it. Team first, yeah. 1 week at a time. Team, relying on team. Fashion. I'll tell you who's not.
Yeah.
Tom McDonald.
Yeah, he just
Myself.
yeah.
Oscar McDonald. Sorry to pick those boys out, but fashion. Louis always commenting on what I wear and what Tommy wears. He hates it, but best dresser.
Tommy Bug sports a bit of designer type gear, doesn't he?
He is. He's a lot about his look. But Jake Melcham's probably another one.
Oh yeah.
He's got the R.M. Williams boot. I've got R.M. Williams boots, but you got the boots,
you're a country
the
boy.
tight jeans, the Rolex. If you boys got Rolexes going, you're getting paid more than me. I tell you
Either
that.
that or freebies.
Yeah, maybe that's what's going on. I can't believe I'm not involved in that.
I think I know the answer to this one, but Nini Payne asks, who's your closest friend on another AFL team?
Nini, yeah. Good question. Probably, Tex was best man in my wedding, so, I'd have to say him. But, I've still got good mates back at Adelaide, so so I've certainly got a soft spot for them still, but still a lot of good mates. I was there for 8 years, so you do anything for 8 years, you're going to still have mates, for life from that. So, but he's probably the standout one.
How did Tex go with the best man speech? And the Bucks.
I'll tell you, I was really worried about that speech.
Don't ask about the Bucks.
I was worried about that speech, but he nailed it. He was really good. Like, he surprised me. And he's coming off a pretty tough time, He's just lost the grand final. We're straight into the next weekend was the Bucks. The next weekend was the wedding. So he was a bit flat there for a week or so. But, his wedding speech was unreal. And the Bucks, eventually turned out all right. He was off to a bit of a slow start. But, we got going. And, it was a good weekend.
Hey, almost time to wrap. But before we do, a couple more. Pam asks, what's the feeling among the players right now as to finals this year, Bernie? Hopefully your answer is positive.
Yeah, well, a lot of people, right from the start of pre-season, saying finals are a minimum standard, finals are minimum. And, I tend to agree. We're in a position now that we can really fight for a final spot, but no one hands you a final spot, or, it's not your turn doesn't come around, you don't get handed it, so you got to go and get it. And to do that, you just a bit about what Katie was saying before. You got to be consistent, and that starts with training, starts with your mentality, how you review games, what you learn during the year. Goody's been big on saying, it's the team that learns the most during the year will win the flag, or first of all make finals and win the flag. The best team in the comp probably, you could argue Richmond were the best team in the comp last year, but the best team in the comp doesn't always win the grand final. I mean, Western Bulldogs a couple of years ago were the best team for probably, 5 or 6 weeks. And that was just happened to be the final series. So, and Richmond, they were certainly the best team during the finals. They dominated. So
back half of the season,
yeah, back half of the season, you'd probably say. So it's the team that learns the most and hits form at the right time. You need a bit of luck along the way, but you can make your own luck. In terms of injuries, you can't. But the way you manage people and the biggest thing, probably what Goody speaks about, is what we learn and how we implement our learnings from. Sometimes you get your best learnings out of your losses, which is unfortunate you have to go through a loss. But I mean, after the Hawthorn game, we learnt probably the most we had for a while, and it sort of highlighted a few areas we were being poor at.
I can't let this one slide. It's come from a real battler on Twitter. His name
Is it Clint?
Clint Stanaway.
Oh, it is.
Right.
I was joking.
Is it true you borrowed Damien Barrett's glasses at the Footy Show AFL after party? And if so, what was the result?
Yeah, that was a funny story. This is a long time. I was pretty young when this happened, but
So you're doing the review, were you? The player review?
I did the review beforehand, and as you know, that can be a pretty big night.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Getting a bit nervous.
Clear that
about
out,
this.
yeah. But yeah, I thought I was in the toilet with him, to be honest. Went in there, saw him, sort of only just met him that year, so I didn't really know him that well. And I thought it'd be a bit of a laugh because I had a few mates there and they were texting and all that were there, and we'd had a few, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to steal these because he's got those real thick Coke bottle glasses.
Yeah,
You know?
he does.
I thought this would be funny. I'll take these off. And I'll wear them. I'll put them on. I couldn't see, so I had to take them off till I got out of it. And I was like, boys, watch this. And they're like, I didn't tell them what it was. And then, honestly, I waited there for 10 minutes and he hadn't come out yet. And I'm thinking, what's wrong with this bloke? Anyway, he gets walked out by Billy Brownless and he's like feeling, if you can picture this, he's feeling his feet down each step because it was sort of, you had to come down steps out of the toilet. And I'm thinking, well, he's fallen over in there or something. Something's really serious has happened. He come up to me and he said, do not ever do that again. I'm legally blind without them. And I was like, I just laughed. And that was a running gag for a few years.
So you just keep stealing them?
Yeah, now each year it's a bit of a laugh. I think even other people from other teams have done it to him now. It's just knocking him off. But he does rely heavily on those glasses, and we always have a bit of a laugh about that one.
Hey, Bernie, you've been sensational today on the podcast with thanks to Zurich, Inside Melbourne. Thanks for joining us, and all the best, not just for this week, but for the rest of the year.
No worries. Thanks for having me, guys.
Any more plugs or?
Just proud to be pride. How can I get pride?
You stuffed up your own plug.
No.
That is good.
Just proud to be a part of this thing.
Thank you. We are rapt to have you. Katie, thanks
Good
again.
fun. Thanks, Clint.
And we'll chat to you next week on Inside Melbourne.